Mode.
Good afternoon, good morning, or wherever you are right now. My name is Chris Winters, and welcome to the coaching call for the 18th of April already. Can't believe it. And we'll get started here in just a second. I've already got it recorded. I now have my screen turned on. And I just want to make sure that my sound is okay. I've pretty much figured it out. I know over the past couple of months I've had a little bit of issues with the sound. Cool. Alrighty, good. Looks like we got that. I know the confirmation I set out was on the for 425, and I messed up on that. I do apologize. Always make sure I've got at least I do 4 weeks out in advance, and so just make sure you always go into the members area and just sign up for them right away. That's really the best thing to do. And that will help guard you against some of my human errors out there. I apologize for that. Sounds good on here. We got this. Cool. Alrighty. So let's give just a couple more minutes. I see people still loading on here. And we'll get started right away. We got a lot of really good questions on here. Now, I was going to do this webinar a little bit differently. I had planned on doing. I wanted to really share some of the things I've been taking some notes and kind of some of the things that I've learned, the trials and tribulations of growing not just one business but simultaneous business. I've actually got two offline businesses, one geared towards car dealerships. That's a totally separate business. In fact, it's probably the first time I've ever even mentioned anything about it. And that's turning out to be, this year it's going to be another 7-figure business. And then I've obviously got my pay-per-call business, and that's doing really well. And then I've also got another aspect of a business which I actually enjoy the most, which is what I'm doing right now, which I would consider, internet marketing, the IM space on that end of it. And I really, really enjoy that the most out of all three. But I've been able to kind of juggle and work my way through these things in a relatively short period of time. And again, I'm not above anyone else on this call. I'm just like everyone else. And I've continued to make mistakes every day, and I've made a lot of big mistakes, but I've also had some really big wins. And there's some things in there. So I wanted to kind of put together that in a webinar presentation. Not to sell anything, nothing like that, just to give back, because there's some good things in there, and everyone on this call is running a business, and that's what we need to remember on here. You're not, you're not following the steps of a course. You're following the steps on how to run a successful business, and there are some kind of high-level things that are good to think about, and to kind of structure it when you're looking at yourself as being an actual business owner. I think a lot of things that we find out there, particularly when we hear about entrepreneurs and success stories, is we usually hear two guys starting out in a garage, and then later they ended up going public and selling a company for millions and millions of dollars. But they don't talk about all the stuff that happened in between, which is really where it all happened. They just kind of start from the beginning and the end. And, although I can't put myself in the same position or even on the same platform as people who've, sold their businesses for millions and millions of dollars, I've had in my life a great deal of success just in the past couple of years. And I realized that I was kind of sharing and telling the same story. It's kind of, you kind of get that beginning and that kind of beginning part and the end part, but the pieces in between there are not there. And there's a lot to be learned there, and it's not always pretty. And I think people need to. I just feel like I need to share that, and I wanted to do that today. But when I got my slideshow in from my assistant, and I saw all the questions coming in, I thought, geez, there's some pretty darn good questions too, and I want to address those. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through and I'm going to address those questions because they're really good questions. I mean, there's And there's some shifts happening in our business too that other people are being affected by. I'm being affected by. So I want to talk about those and find some quick solutions for those as well. So I thought it was more pertinent and important and better for all of us if I just followed the normal protocol that I normally do here on those and get into those questions. So if you came on here expecting something a little bit different, like I'd shared in the email, my sincerest apologies. I will put that together, and I'm actually decided I want to really keep these calls just to the questions and answers. I think that's the best thing for it. And I'm just going to make a separate presentation, and I'll just record it, and I will post that up. And of course, I'll leave a place for comments below if you have questions and feedback. So with that, I do want to start out with just some kind of food for thought. And let me just make sure that our sound is good. Cool. Alrighty. Your sound isn't very good. Okay, why is the sound? I've struggled with this before. I've got the mic right up. Let me turn the gain up a bit. Turn the gain up on that. And let me just do one other quick thing here. I know that on the recording, I might have the recording and the audio. Let me check the audio on this one when I've got it set up. Let's see here. Screen sharing. Hang on 1 second for me, because I want to make sure that it's good. And let me just switch over one other thing here. Are we? There we go. Edit online. Oh, lock down on that. Let me just. Hang on 1 second with me. And on that, hold on, no. Okay, so this is probably the best I'm going to get the sound right now. I'm listening to it through my headphones. It sounds pretty darn good. It's not very distant on here, and we're definitely recording. So let's go ahead and get this show rolling here. We've got a lot to go over today. What I want to share with you on here is just a really simple concept, and that is that you create your future from your future, not your past. And I want to give a real life example of that in my own life. And this example can be applied to any aspect of your life on this end of it. But I'm responsible for living in the past a lot, and that's going to predict what my future is going to be, because you just end up hitting the repeat button. I know I've hit the repeat button for the past 40 some odd years of my life. Because living on thoughts and patterns in the past on here. And when this is a picture that I found of Bill Phillips. And Bill Phillips, this was his 40th year picture. So he's 40 years old. And when I saw this, I was about to turn 41 years old. And the challenge with that is that I thought, man, I would really like to look like that. But the problem is that I didn't look anything like that. This was a picture of me on here. So how was I going to go from this really fat, over-alcoholic, overeating, just unemployed person? How was I going to just even transform myself over into that point? I had some real issues with avoidance and alcohol and eating in particular on that end of it. And I was really just quite frankly ashamed of my life. I knew it wasn't going anywhere. And I really wanted to turn things around. So I started from the inside out. And from the inside out, looking into the future. I did some active things. I joined AA. I learned about my overeating issues. I exercised. I started eating clean. In other words, I started taking massive action on that end of it, and I had, most importantly, I had a really clear vision about what I wanted in my future. I wanted to look like Bill Phillips. So what I did is I visualized the type of husband that I wanted to be to my wife, the type of father I wanted to be to my kids, the type of house I wanted to live in, and that I would be free of my alcohol and food addictions. And what I would do is I visualized what it would be like to have a newer life, have a thinner waist, and have no back pain. I had a lot of back pain because I carried extra weight on that end of it. So what I did was really simple, and I spent 1 or 2 minutes reviewing my goals, visualizing them in my head. There's no magic formula to it. It's just it's clear. I'm eating a few times a day, so it's kind of no difference than praying or anything like that. It's just good old mental focus on that end of it, and just keeping it at top of mind. And it's just an easy way to do it while you're eating. I mean, for me, that's what I found. Didn't read in a book, nothing like that. And did it work? Yeah, it definitely worked. I ended up visualizing, and I just kept visualizing and focusing on it. Wasn't obsessive about it. Just I was eating anyways. What else was I going to do? Most people, when they eat, they go on Facebook or watch TV. And really just spent 1 minute to 2 minutes just visualizing my future and making my visualization of my future my future. In other words, I was living in the future. And in between meals, if you're eating 2 or 3 meals a day or 4 meals a day or whatever, when you consistently do that and just take that little tiny bit of effort to focus on that, it doesn't take very long, because there's so many distractions along the way that can pull you back into the past, into your past habits. So you start hitting that repeat button that you've been living your life the same way, the same problems over and over again every day. It helps you to remove yourself from that and to stay focused on the future and what you want to do, so that when old habits from the past come your way, which they will, they'll come in the form of friends, they'll come in the form of actually people seeing you want to make a change, and close people, even like spouses and brothers and parents and friends that you thought supported you and wanted the best for you, will actually find ways to sabotage you. That's just human nature. That's just the way it is. And so staying focused on it, and making a mental image in your mind, and trying to be as focused as possible with it. Meaning, and I to this day have not read a single book on visualization. I'm also really under the belief that to some extent the experts are not always correct on that end of it. And Noah's Ark was built by amateurs, and the Titanic was built by experts. And unfortunately, we all know what happened to the Titanic. So I've purposely, because visualization for me has worked so well, I've purposely just stayed away from trying to study or learn about it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And I just keep it real simple. I don't do anything crazy or magical about it. Just literally 60 seconds, 120 seconds, just right before I'm eating, or even while I'm eating. I'll have a clear picture in my mind, like a little tiny movie script, of how I want particular aspects of my life to be. And I just try to make it as realistic